highest birth rates in the world. It was above 7 children per woman. And their population was growing extremely quickly. And they realized that this cannot continue. We can't keep growing the population at this rate. And so they embarked on a huge campaign of reducing their population growth. And they did that by distributing contraception and having education for women and couples. Every newly married couple had to go through a class about birth control. And in less than a decade, they reduced their birth rate from over 7 to replacement to 2.1. And I think that's a huge story of success. I think that's one part of the answer, is educating women and providing power for women to make decisions about their own reproduction around the world. And I think another part is that we've seen that that's not really going to happen in this country with the political situation that we have. And I think part of the answer is what this gentleman was saying, is that the population that we have is going to be reduced at some point. And there are a lot of different ways that it might happen. If we keep going on the trajectory that we're on right now, it's just going to be a catastrophic population collapse when the fossil fuel runs out, or some other catastrophe stops the system from functioning, and that population is just going to drop, and it's going to be really nasty for those people who are starving. And then there are ways that I think it could be done a lot more humanely. But what we've seen is that the people in power are not willing to engage in those methods, and there's no profit in those methods, and there is profit in the current system. And so I think it's kind of what Dillon said. It's us or nobody, and that's why I'm a huge supporter of feminist activists and women's rights activists around the world, and that's why we talk about that during our presentations. But I think one of the big things too is that, and Dillon also touched on this, is that right now the carrying capacity of the land is decreasing. And what I mean by that is that 50 years ago, if none of the dams had been built, people could still eat salmon every day in the Northwest. And now we can't do that anymore because the salmon are gone. And as this culture is being allowed to continue, the carrying capacity continues to drop. And so the sooner that we discontinue those processes, the sooner those dams come down, the sooner the industrial overfishing stops, the more life will be left to support those people who remain. So there's no easy answer to that question, because we're in a deep hole.
And it does depend on what people you're talking about. As you sort of said, I mean, there's a woman named Anuradha Mittal who does a lot of work in India around food issues, and she said that most of India would be better off immediately if the global economy were to go down tomorrow, because a lot of India is subsistence farmers who have been driven off their land by multinational corporations. And there are granaries that used to support people living around those that now export to Europe, luxuries to Europe. And there are semiconductor factories in Africa diverting huge amounts of water for that process, and people around all over the place are dying of thirst. So, and that's just talking about the humans. Non-human species, an average of 120 species goes extinct every day. If if we value all life, the bulk of life on this planet will be better off immediately the day the economy goes down. It's, like Max said, it's difficult for us to talk about it because we're the ones that this is all benefiting. And I hope, beyond hopes, that is not what keeps us from fighting back. All of this system is set up to provide benefits for us. We're the ones reaping the benefits. So I think we just have to keep that in mind. But it's not an easy thing to talk about.
Anything else? Any other questions? Cool. Well, we'll be here if anybody wants to come and talk to us. We've got email sign-up lists for Fertile Ground is over here. You've also got some newsletters if anybody's interested in taking a look. This is what we do with our lives, is this work. So if you're interested in supporting us or getting involved or anything, come talk to us. And thanks for coming.